this time, I'd like to invite Congressman Payne to come up with us and just share a few comments. Mr. Congressman.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's certainly a pleasure to be here this morning, however late. I knew you were leaving at 11, so I know you have to get on. So I would just be brief. As a matter of fact, as I speak, there's a hearing going on in the Education and Labor Committee being chaired by Mr. Kildee, dealing with literacy and the whole problems with literacy and how children, maybe up to grade 4th, will be doing well. They're enjoying reading and excited, but 4 to 8, you see a tremendous leveling out and a dropping off, and we're trying to deal with how to overcome that. So I was doing educational stuff, so you can excuse me, but I'm really delighted to be here to be with the Campaign for High School Equity, and certainly it's important that you're organizing a briefing of this nature, the expanded learning, improving outcomes for high school students of color. As you probably know, 1.3 million American students drop out of high school annually, and there is, of course, a disproportionate number of those who are students of color. Although spending on education has increased significantly, the rate at which our students drop out has remained about the same for the past 30 years. The expectations of our students and schools have risen, and the demands of our global society are more intense, but the time allocated for students and teachers to reach these standards remains the same as it did, as we all know, many, many years ago, even when I went to elementary and high school. So my kids used to ask me, was it a log cabin? Well, no, it wasn't quite, but there has not been too many changes. In fact, the near universal school calendar of 186-hour days has been unchanged since it was designed to meet the standard needs of farming and factories in the early 20th century, as all of you know. As a result, our schools are failing to meet the needs of our students, and they're failing, and the students are, of course, falling behind, becoming disengaged and eventually dropping out. Many years ago in the 50s, I taught in high school, and during that time, the demands of the classroom often required me to remain after school, which at that time was what you normally did. It was just expected. There was no extra pay. It was just that you stayed until you kind of got the job done. Today, the academic challenges far exceed those of my time in teaching. Of course, you did have to learn your times tables. You didn't have calculators, so you do, and of course, information you had to remember and not go to your little iPod and dig it up. But this certainly is an advantage for information. If you're just in trouble if you lose your iPod or calculator. So hold on to them. But today's academic challenges far exceed those encountered in my time of teaching, and I believe that to expect our teachers to address the myriad of issues and complications that we hear today in the classrooms with the same time, the same everything, we're certainly missing the boat. As a senior member of the House Education and Labor Committee, I have worked to address the needs to adjust the school schedule by introducing the Time for Innovative Matters in Education, called the TIME Act, which was also introduced and championed in the Senate by the late Senator Ted Kennedy. The purpose of this legislation is to extend learning time in low-performing schools, high-poverty schools, and in districts in order to boost students' performance, close academic gaps, and expand enrichment opportunities for our nation's most underserved schools. The expansion of learning time is a comprehensive strategy that redesigns a school's entire educational program in a way that is not incremental, built around the academic needs and interests of students, expanding learning initiatives, cultivate relationships with community partners, and modernize public schools to help develop 21st century learning skills to prepare all students for lifelong success. I believe expanding learning time will, one, allow for more instruction in math, English, language arts, science, and other core subjects. Two, provide more enrichment and educational opportunities, including art, music, physical education, apprenticeships, and community service. Number three, encourage schools to form partnerships with community-based organizations and institutions of higher learning to provide educational opportunities to children that are not currently available to them. And finally, to increase opportunities for educators to work collaboratively and to participate in quality professional development. More and better use of learning time benefits all students, all children, but can have an especially significant impact on students who are academically behind, and this is what this is really geared for. Without rethinking the current school calendar, the challenge of getting students in these schools to grade level and beyond will remain difficult. That is why I believe well-implemented expanding learning time initiatives can provide all students in a school with the time, instruction, and the structure necessary to achieve academic success and other positive outcomes. As I mentioned earlier, today's agenda calls for a discussion of high-quality, expanded learning opportunities specifically for students at the high school level. However, I deeply regret that I will not have an opportunity to discuss these issues because we do know that your time is about up, but I certainly look forward to working with the campaign for high school equality and other groups that have taken a strong interest in this matter. And so once again, I certainly appreciate having the opportunity to be here, and hopefully we will be able to come up with some solutions. One of the other problems, as you know, that we have in our schools with the sort of high stakes testing, because we're all on the testing binge and students have to perform or they do become left behind in the grading by No Child Left Behind. We find that some of the programs that we need, enrichment programs of which perhaps used to be art or other kinds of programs, are scrapped because that time is used for remedial or test preparation, and so we're losing a part of the totality of the educational system. But hopefully, if our legislation moves forward and we can expand the time in a quality way, I think that we can start to combat some of those problems that we have. So once again, thank you very much.
Won't you join me in thanking the Congressman once more?